Good evening. It's great to see everybody. Who's here from District 18? I know Mike and Dana, and Lou and Susan, and some other good folks. So I think we have the majority here. But
we didn't realize we were voting.
Yeah.
But District 18, we function as a team. We put out a joint end of session letter, which probably a lot of you got in the mail, but I have extra copies if anybody didn't get one. And so what I will cover are a few of the things that I had worked on during the session. One thing that actually arose out of something that Senator Raskin had worked on, I had put in a local bill for spending transparency for Montgomery County Public Schools. Last year, we had a statewide bill that Senator Raskin was the lead sponsor on to require all state agencies to put their spending on a searchable website so people could see exactly where the state money was going. That was a great bill that passed last year, and that was actually modeled after a federal bill that President Obama had sponsored when he was a U.S. Senator. So some constituents came to me and said, hey, this great bill that you all passed last year, does it apply to school systems? And working with the AG's office, we got a letter saying, no, it didn't apply to school systems. You'd have to actually have a separate piece of legislation to apply to Montgomery County Public Schools. Put a bill in on that, and the Montgomery County school budget is $2 billion, so it's got to be the largest or one of the largest entities in the state of Maryland. So you can go online at some point and find out how much that Promethean board over there actually costs and what the school system paid for it.
7,000 per.
7,000 per. Okay, very, very good. Another bill I had worked on that was actually a statewide bill that didn't pass was kind of neat. And I have some souvenirs here for anybody who wants them. This is a reusable grocery bag that you can use. But I teamed up with one of the Washington, D.C. council members. We had companion bills in the district and in Maryland that would have helped to clean up our waterways. There's a tremendous amount of trash, plastic, stuff getting into our waterways because they end up blowing in the wind, they blow into the trees, they go down to the storm drains, and they end up in the bay and choking wildlife and so on. So we had a bill in each jurisdiction that would have put a 5-cent fee on the throwaway bags, both paper and plastic, to encourage people to bring the reusable bags. And the money from that would have gone partly back to the retailer and then part to restoration of the Chesapeake Bay. So the strategic decision on my part was not to not bring the Maryland bill to a vote because the DC bill was doing so well and was so strong. That's actually going to come to a vote within the next couple of weeks. So the hope is that we'll have the bill passed in DC. I think 11 out of the 13 DC council members were co-sponsors. So hopefully that bill will pass in DC, and we can come back next session in Maryland with success in DC and having the bill already been heard, and hopefully that will help secure its passage. Another interesting bill that I was involved in, actually a friend of mine, his name is Shai Calvo. He is the mayor of the town of Berwyn Heights, which is right near College Park. And he and his family, they were the victim of a sort of botched SWAT team. There was this drug raid. If the sheriff's office had done a very small amount of investigation, instead of just rushing in and wanting to play Rambo, it would have been so obvious that the Calvo family, is not involved in drugs, but there was this package of marijuana that was planted or falsely delivered to their address, and so the sheriff's SWAT team showed up, shot their dogs, and and totally traumatized their family. But the silver lining to this whole thing was it shed some light on this practice of the whole militarization of the police forces across the country, where you have a lot of things that It used to be ordinary police work that somehow over time became SWAT team work. And this was just another example of that. So there was international attention to the incident, and a bill came in actually to require these SWAT teams to report and be accountable to actually on a periodic basis to tell the state, what they're doing, how often they're doing these kind of raids, so that the public can get a better handle on this sort of thing. So I thought that was very good progress. Another bill I worked on was had to do with the transparency of public hearings for transportation. The MTA, state agency that handles commuter buses, MARC train, the light rail in Baltimore, and the subway in Baltimore. It came to light last year that when they cut transit service, they were not doing it in a way that gave the public a lot of input. They were legally allowed to announce a cut and actually make the cut without having a public hearing or doing it before the public hearing. So I was very pleased to actually get the governor's support for a bill that would put in place some better practices for the MTA, actually bring them up to par to what WMATA and Metro have to go through when they want to make service cuts. So that was another very good bill that's sitting on the governor's desk for signature. And then another one actually I had worked on, it didn't pass this year, got stopped in the Senate, but I'm hoping to bring back next year, was a bill to reform some of the outdoor lighting practices in Maryland. There was a task force about 10 years ago that Delegate Kopp, now Treasurer Kopp, had spearheaded, but a lot of things happened before 9/11, some really good policy work that has gone by the wayside. So this is something that I picked up and worked on. There's a tremendous amount of money and energy that's spent in the form of lighting that shines upward or sideways and doesn't go on the ground or on the road where it helps pedestrians. So some other states have taken the lead in putting in some better standards for outdoor lighting. And actually named the bill after Marilyn Praisner, because that's an issue that she had championed at the county level. So I enjoyed working on that, and we're bringing it back. And so I will wrap it up by handing it over to the next legislator who arrived. Who would that be?
Tom, go ahead. I need to
Yeah.
gather. I was next, but I need to gather my thoughts, so Tom. go ahead.
What about me?
I need to gather my thoughts.
Good, then I'm happy to go. I did beat you. No, huh? There is not a caps game tonight, no.
Not until Saturday.
Yeah, it's not until Saturday, the very important